Damn, I don't know how to. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know where to put myself. I don't know where to put myself in order to make this look good. Where do I put myself? Where do I put myself? Where do I put myself? All right. Um, what does this look like? How does that look? All right. I guess that's fine right there. We'll do that. We will do that. Welcome in. Gee, whoa, wow. Okay, Jesus Christ, welcome in. Welcome in. And Issa is here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you?
Good, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. How was your week?
Really good. So, I'm noticing something really interesting. Um, Starting somewhat this week, but more noticeably yesterday, and fully illuminated today, is that I'm having some specific memories that are popping up in order with my planetary work, and currently there's one that I'm going through in my Mars work, and ever since I went into my Saturday prayers, and then today, I notice that anytime this memory pops up in my head, and I try to examine what comes after it because there's some blanks in there,
Hmm.
I feel it go down directly into my body, but it situates itself between my rib cage, the upper and lower part, between the heart and the solar plexus, I guess you would call it. And
Okay.
I'm noticing that it tends to fade away after the realization settles in my body and it pulls my awareness away from it.
Huh.
And yeah, it's really interesting. And I noticed today that instead of trying to like grasp it, what I actually need to be doing is focusing on where it's landing in my body and not necessarily let it expand and direct anywhere
Mhm.
outward, but to feel the presence of that heat and pressure inside of myself. And it's pretty interesting because I'm going directly into the second week where, you go down the same way you come back up. So everything is starting to land a lot more physically in my body, and it's a little I wouldn't say jarring or like fully awe-inspiring either, like the radiation of the sun or that illumination,
Mhm.
but I'm feeling it wanting to pull towards that direction. So it's interesting how this is going to further develop into my solar work. So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. That's interesting. I can't think of, at least not readily off the top of my head. I would have to, sit down with it a little bit, meditate on it. But off the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure what that could be a result of, or even a beckoning for. But I'm sure it's something important within your work, within your planetary initiations.
Yeah, I'm noticing I'm starting to actually integrate, it feels like, the ancestral part of my work because a lot of that seems to come up when I get to the soul part of my work right before I'm entering Rubeto.
Hmm.
And it's like there's a chain of memory and intelligence going on here that I'm not trying to exactly understand the meaning yet, but it's like coming in like fragments.
Right.
it's coming back down into me in fragments. So
That is fascinating. That is fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Welcome
yeah.
in, Alex. What's up?
How's your week been going?
My week has been going pretty great. It's been going pretty great. I'm waiting for some good news. I'm hoping it comes next week. I was hoping it would come this past week, but it hasn't. But I've been told it's coming. So
Oh,
um,
I'm excited for you, whatever that is. Fingers crossed.
yes, same. So hopefully we will see something very soon on that, and then I'll be able to make an announcement. But aside from that, yeah, my week has been pretty good. I can't complain. I
Yeah,
cannot complain.
great. Same. It's been a pretty good week, honestly.
Good, excellent. All right. Oh wow, Jesus Christ, we had a giant drop. What the? All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump right in. So welcome in, everybody. Be sure to tap the screen so we can get out on the For You page. We had a bit of people in here for the first few minutes, but I'm not sure what just happened. Um, but we can get it back. So um, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our uh, this is the third, right? Yeah, our third Arcane Council stream, our third week of doing the stream. I hope you guys are enjoying these conversations. And we've got new topics for this week. We've got new topics for this week. And they are on the screen, on my screen. Thank you, Deborah, for liking the live. I appreciate that. And Issa, thank you very much. Uh, and all right. So let's go ahead and get started. Is there any particular question you wanted to start on, any or a topic you wanted to start on?
No, not. I haven't thought of any particular order.
Okay. Well, let's actually start with number two, God form assumption. Its practice and its uses. I'm curious if you yourself, Issa, practice any sort of God form assumption in your own practice. And anyone in the audience, if you guys practice God form assumption or have practiced or are interested in practicing, let us know in the chat or even request to come up. There's an extra box for anybody who wants to request to come up and discuss any of these topics that we have up here. So yeah, Issa, if you want to go ahead and let us know if you have any experiences and what's your thoughts on God form assumption.
So, isn't that where people um, take on like this specific pattern or consciousness of a deity, like you're becoming it?
Essentially, yes. Yep.
Um, I guess a little bit, not maybe in the same way someone would with in spirit, but
Hmm.
I kind of see the way that I participate and practice alchemy, where I'm more or less temporarily aligning myself with that specific pattern or consciousness to take on and embody some of that energy, but more in an archetypal way and less spirit. But in my practice, I'm not taking on that spirit's full qualities or postures or the, any kind of mindset associated. But I'm more so operating with a force to align with it. I think there is a twofold explanation. I think
Okay.
I think first that it refines your own internal state. So, like I said, your own training that you've done on yourself to embody that pattern. And then I think, secondly, like I was saying before, the spirit part, it creates a smoother and like clearer channel for ritual or magical work, so that you're not approaching that force from a distance. You're actually participating in it. But with this in mind, I think that it needs to be done carefully, because it's not about claiming an identity or something you should have a disciplined alignment for a specific purpose. So,
Well said. Well said. So I personally don't practice any form of God form assumption. Um, Back when I was working with the Elderwood clan, um, I would they would do things like drawing down the moon or drawing down the sun, stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
which is a form, I guess you could say, of God form assumption. Although it's a pretty mild God form. It's mild. God form assumption and even like ritual possession can, in many ways, kind of be synonymous.
Yeah.
And so I don't. I mean, back then we did stuff like that, but it wasn't very often, and it was very mild. And since then, I have not engaged in any sort of bringing into myself in external energy or presence or anything along those lines. So I personally have not practiced God form assumption, although there is a unique curse that I am familiar with that does require God form assumption, and it requires preparation work for this God form assumption of 9 months.
Oh my
But
god.
if you complete the 9 months, you are supposedly, an instance of this deity, and the curses and hexes that you place will be, swag times 10. Um, if I ever did God form assumption, it might be to do something like that. But I personally have not engaged, at least recently, in any sort of God form assumptive practice. So,
Can I ask, is this a similar line where people are describing, your head being ridden?
um, no. So your head being ridden is essentially ritual possession, like to the max.
That's what
God
I
form
mean.
assumption. So with God form assumption, you're supposed to be in control, though. That's
Yeah.
why
Okay.
I don't compare it 100% to possession. But when you're being ridden, you're usually not in control, and usually it's for a purpose of like giving an oracle or something like that. God form
Mm,
assumption, you sort of have your choice on what the purpose of that assumption is, and
yeah.
you're sort of in control.
That's what I thought. Because yeah, you're probably still dealing with some aspect of raw energy, but the way that people describe those spirits being hot, warm, or mild in temperament, or even cold, it seems like it's like that, but turned up all the way to the max and without much
Yeah,
consent on the direction of where it's going. You're
yeah,
just a full conduit and vessel at that moment.
yeah. You're just along. Like your consciousness is just along for the ride at that point. Um,
So, I guess the other day you were talking about a faithful asked if animals can be possessed. Would
mhm.
it be kind of like that?
Yeah, I would probably liken it to that more so than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, animals getting possessed is an interesting phenomenon because it's not something that we. I mean, I'm sure maybe if you really dive, deep into the annals, you might be able to find something, but we don't really hear about animal possession in the West. And I know Africa is considered in the West, but in this instance, I'm not considering it part of the West. We don't
Yeah.
really hear about that in like witchcraft or ceremonial magic or anything along those lines. Um, so it's a unique case for animals getting possessed.
Just one more question before we move on to the next, because this is just spanning a lot of subtopics, I guess.
Oh no, it's fine. There's no other questions in the chat,
Yeah.
so we can keep on if you'd like.
Um, how would you be able to identify if an animal is possessed?
Well, I think you would use the same sort of tactic that you would for a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would. observe them acting out of what is considered the norm, and that would be the first step. And then you would, of course, rule out any sort of medical issues. If there's any sort of physical reason or even mental reasons that this creature could be in distress, and ruling out any of that, then there may be a spiritual problem. And from there, you could sort of do the same thing. You could do a reading. You could do an auric scan to see if there's any sort of energetic attachments on this thing that could be, causing a possession. There's a bunch of things that you could do to determine if an animal is possessed. It's just you're not going to be able to, get your hands on it, most likely, depending on the type of animal it is.
Yeah, that
But
makes sense.
yeah, I would say it would probably be the same. I've never dealt with a possessed animal, so I am speculating here just for the record. But I would assume it's along the same lines with a human.
Right. I'm actually gonna turn my lights on and turn my camera on to see if that'll help get some views up.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I literally turned the camera on and it went instantly from like nothing to 20, 30, 40, 50, and then I don't know, it just dropped.
People
It's
just
like they gave us a
disappeared.
blast and then they were like, never mind. Hey, there she is.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I'm sitting in my bed though because I got all my sheets cleaned and everything since I got a washer. So I'm like,
Nice,
and
nice,
I
nice.
already have all my questions wrote out in the way that I wanted to speak on them. So
Good, good. And yeah, I don't mind if we, if there's subtopics or questions or whatever. That's completely fine. Especially on, times like this where it seems to be slower than even other nights that are slow. Um,
and Venom took the party with him. So
yeah, Venom, come back, come back.
he said he was gonna be here tonight, and he's not.
That's all right. He's with his fam.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate the three of you that are in here. Thank you very, very much. Um, all right. Let's continue. Um, let's do your question. Number one. Well, I'm assuming this is your question. How do different traditions approach spirit invocation when there are no formal prayers or hymns preserved? Is that from you or is that from Venom?
That was me.
Okay. All right. Am I asking that right? Am I reading that right?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
it was a duo question. How do different traditions do that? Or, and if people are curious, how do you do that then? So how to?
Hmm. Well, from what I understand, so I can only speak for the systems that I'm part of, but from what I understand, from a few systems that I'm not part of, where there are no preserved prayers or hymns, the witch can generate them on the spot or pre-generate them, can create them, through planning and all that other stuff, or they can
Hmm.
just make them up on the spot. Or there are even cases where you don't do any of that. I know people who simply just flash a sigil or just open a sigil and just connect to that energy, and it's pure energetic. And
Yep.
just through the manipulation of energy, they're able to reach out into the void and connect with that spirit and communicate. So that's how I would respond to that.
Yeah. I had a much more thorough answer. And like you said, it's not always about specific words. It's
Mhm.
more about understanding the structure of your relationship to it. Um, the simple form that I do, and oddly enough, it actually follows planetary structure too. A lot of magic, ironically, does, but
Mhm.
um, I like to identify the spirit, acknowledge its domain, make an appropriate offering.
Okay.
state your intention and then invite rather than command. At least at first,
Yeah.
you don't have any experience with your own limitations. You're not going to know how to command something to do your own bidding or whatever work.
Exactly.
But I don't think people should also jump straight into invocation. Coming from like, especially intense topic like God form assumption, it's better to start with acknowledgement and offerings. And then you build that familiarity, I think, over time. Seems to work the best. And then you might want to go on to a full invocation. And then even deeper work like God form assumptions and all of that. Different layers to invocation in and out of yourself.
So that leads me to a question. I wonder how that would play into people from outside of a tradition, from a different tradition. So they are practitioners, but they're from a tradition where maybe the spirit categories and the hierarchies aren't the same. So, say
Mm-hmm.
for example, someone coming from the east, someone coming from like Tao of the left or Tao sorcery coming over to the west. Um, they might not have the types of spirits that we have over here. Um, how would they be able to utilize their own, how do I want to say this, uh, magical technology, I guess, to communicate with the beings over here? Because the standard answer that I would give is, well, you would use your own, like your own ancestors or whatever, and go through the spirits that you do work with and ask them to facilitate an introduction, right? But
Mm-hmm.
cross culturally, I wonder how that works. And I would like to know your perspective on that. So I'm Chinese and I practice Tao and I have thunder spirits, right? I work with spirits of thunder. And I'm interested in working with, I don't know, the grimoires, but I'm not so comfortable maybe approaching it from the very commanding aspect of the grimoires. And I'm not as well read as I should be. So I don't know about the folky styles and stuff like that. So how would I be able to introduce myself to those spirits?
You're gonna struggle a little bit, and I know this because I practice Buddhism and I practice Ashtanga Vinyasa Yoga, which is a form of initiatory practice.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to figure out at which point in your orientation of your language you're going to want to slightly change. So it aligns with Hermetic and, more importantly, philosophy and Neoplatonic thought. So you're going to want to ground it there.
Good answer. Good answer. I like that. Hey, Jungle Juice, welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Familiar face!
Yes, we're having a slow night tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. Like normally we can at least get like at least double digits in here, but
You know what
I
I
don't know
think it
what's going
is
on tonight.
actually? It's spring break.
Is it? Oh, okay.
I mean, Friday was the equinox.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh,
Ev-
crap. Ostara just passed. That's right.
So everybody's kumbayaing around a campfire and
Yeah,
hanging out with
everyone's
families
bonfiring.
and friends and spring
Or
breaking.
Benji might be right. The Illuminati is blocking us. It's the Illuminati. They are blocking us.
God damn it. You know, they did send me an invite like a few months ago.
And see, and you didn't respond, so now they're upset.
No, I
And
did. I said no in big caps.
yeah, I won't ever forget the I still have them, and I'm not gonna lie, I think about responding like often to the Cynthia von Bueller Illuminati invites. Um, I think I told you guys about that a while ago.
You
when I got
did.
invited. And I think I showed the emails and all that from the Pig King and the phone number he told me to text and all that other
Yep.
weird shit. That shit was weird. Oh my god! But I mean, she is actually wealthy. She's part of European aristocracy. She was married to a baron. I think she's not with the baron anymore. I think they got a divorce. But from what I understand, she was able to retain her title, her peerage title. So
Joe.
I think she just can't pass it down to her kids. I think that's the only restriction.
She can pass it on to everybody else but her kids. What the fuck? That's
So
the most boomer shit ever.
yeah, I think that's
That's right.
that's the trick. So
I mean, you have like the perfect opportunity to get in there so we can get the Yap Temple going.
yeah, actually, yeah,
You need a
that
sponsor. She's
I
got.
do need a sponsor. Actually, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Get in there and be like, listen, I'm trying to revive. Listen, whoever sponsors me can be the modern day Cosimo de Medici. You know the Medici family, right? He revived it in the Renaissance. I'll be Marsilio Ficino. You be Medici, and we could start a 2026 uh, revival of Hermeticism.
Hell yeah.
Benji says only way to get rid of it is channeling the Palladians, and then but it's funny because under that, directly under Benji's comment is a TikTok notice. So I'm gonna read it all as one. It says only way to get rid of them is channeling the Palladians. You can thank them for their support and invite them to join your fan club by sending a heart me to your live. It just fits so well.
No context, but it fits perfectly anyway.
Calling all sponsors. Yes, tag the sponsor. If
For real.
anyone even knows what that is from back in the day, tag the sponsor. Tag the sponsor. Tag the sponsor.
We can have like our own God damn it, what are those like TikTok houses and shit that the Gen Z kids are doing?
Oh
Like
yeah, for like occult stuff. Like we could like develop
a
occult content
fraternity,
creators.
an occult fraternity, and invite all the big witchcraft creators, and we can do like one huge like week seminar at the Hermetic Temple.
Oh, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, I want to buy that church out in San Diego for like $50 million.
You got the mountains on one side and then the ocean on the other. It's
Yeah,
literally
that show was beautiful as shit. I was like, what the hell? This is like a movie set. What the hell?
real. It's like
That shit
Harry.
was beautiful as
That's like
hell.
Harry Pottering it up, but it'll be better than WitchCon.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we would do shit like that. We would do like real witchy conventions, like the kind they do in Europe, not that shit they do here.
Yeah.
Not just
I,
oh, it's
I
just a bunch of authors and they're doing talks and then we'll sign your book. Like, ooh, yeah, great. I'm not like I don't want that.
unless it's Rufus Opus.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's see. We only got two more, so I guess it doesn't matter. And then I guess we could. I've got other questions here. I guess we could look at. All right, let's just do number three. Altered states. How do you enter an altered state of consciousness? How do you enter an altered state of consciousness? I guess I'll go first because I've been having
Yeah.
you go first on this. So as I've always said, I get into an altered state of consciousness by vibrating sacred names. That's how I get into an altered state. That's how I get into a trance. I simply just repeat sacred names of God and I vibrate it and I feel it here in my chest until it gets up into my throat and I hold it here and sort of with like, I guess technically it's energy manipulation. I push that outwards and it goes out into the atmosphere and that sort of like acoustic sort of a thing from internal out sort of helps me and a lot of people get into an altered state. That's how I do. I've been doing that for probably what since I was about 28 or 29, so 6, 7 years. 6, 7. No, just kidding. But seriously, it's been about 6, 7 years. And so that's my preferred method. There are other methods that you can do. As I always mention, there's ritual drumming, sacred breathing, like box breathing, and the fourfold breath or the sevenfold breath and all that. There's counting mala beads. There's all kinds of methods that people could use to get into an altered state. So
I actually go into altered states very similarly still how I learned to, coming from a Buddhistic background, and I've just shifted the language during meditation, so I stay in a hermetic framework, and they actually line up really well if you know how to compartmentalize the language while you're in the middle of it. But along with some of the things that you've said, I think actually people assume they're really shifting like a level of awareness that something big happens, but it's actually very subtle and on your focus and your awareness. So,
yes.
like I've explained before, dropping into a trance or even into like a self-possessive state for me is not hard at all. I have synesthesia, and I have I have auditory tactile synesthesia, which is sound to touch. So music is my main gateway in chanting things. And like you said, for different reasons, people will use repetition, breath work, rhythm, music, and along with sustained, focused visualization. Usually a combination of those things will get you into those different mental states. And music naturally shifts how I perceive things anyway, but the principle stays the same. You're trying to narrow your attention and deepening your awareness until your perception changes. And that's actually things I'm going through within my Mars work right now, like I was just telling you at the beginning of the live. So I'm already have been doing this. That's why Mars has kind of felt boring for me, because you're really, at least on the base level that I'm working with, it is focusing on circulating the energy that you learn to contain, then expand with Saturn and Jupiter into your body a lot more. And there was something else I was going to say, and I've kind of drifted out of my mind for a second. So one of the things that I do a lot for meditation when it comes to deeper nervous system work outside of the subtle body or light body exercises, is called Nadi Shodhana. And that's a alternative nostril breathing technique that you go into after doing deep breath and bandha locks, which is basically where you take a deep breath in, and as you're feeling like the breath, traveling down into your stomach, when it reaches your stomach, you're supposed to take your stomach and like fold it in on itself. So it, the breath locks and it like splits into the upper and lower chamber of your stomach. And then you circle that back through, and then you go through the intermittent nostril breathing. And from there, that like is supposed to lightly cleanse and purify your different energy channels going up and down your body. And then from there, we vibrate sacred names. Depending on your path in your practice, if you're any kind of devotee to any of the Hindu or Buddhistic deities, you would chant their names or their mantras associated with them repeatedly. And even with mala beads, you'll see people sometimes on TikTok lives where they're in a small room and they're just walking back and forth with this bag, and there's a person standing there and they're repeatedly chanting. That's actually, the movement is giving them something to do, because normally within that intensity of meditation, they're doing that for 2 hours and they have to repeat it like 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And that's way more than a traditional 108 meditation with mala beads. And when we're done with the lower body, so throat going down to the neck, then that's when we come back up and start vibrating. Just Om is typically the base, what most people do, or Awen if you're druidic. That's something I've been incorporating a little bit too into my practice as my own synthesis has evolved. And then you take that and like you said, it's like energy manipulation. For me, I see it more as like a gateway between the throat and the third eye. And a lot of people use the top palate of their mouth, or that's the soft palate, sorry. It's still the top. The soft palate as like an entryway into the third eye, and then, you know, coming out into your subtle body around you, your aura. And yeah, so I typically like to start at the throat, and then I'll move down along the heart, and then I'll go down into the solar, and then the sacral, and then the root, and then I'll bring that back up so many times. I'll repeat it. I think in the vinyasa breathing techniques that I do, it's like 10 times. And then the Nadi Shodhana is like 5 or 7 rounds on each side, and it's done very slowly, so it's like a total of 5 minutes. And you're supposed to hold your breath for a few seconds, and then when you take an exhale, you're supposed to only release it in increments before you fully exhale. And then there's a section before that too, actually, where you're supposed to do that on the same round, but on an inhale as well. And I can actually share the meditation with people because it's the same one that I've been doing for years. But that's typically how I enter a altered state of consciousness, through meditation. And I'll do that with music, sometimes no music. Sometimes I'll listen to other people drumming. You can experiment with different breath works and different sounds, different locations. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Jungle Juice, welcome up. Welcome up.
Hey, hey everyone.
Oh my God, I didn't
Hey,
even realize you jumped up. Sorry. I love this topic specifically because the body work is one of my favorite things to talk about in spirituality. It's very underrated, and I get it though at the same time. Not everybody has the time for it.
No,
And
I'm just now getting into like the breath work and stuff like that, breath technique. So
yeah.
I'm listening to all the details because I'm just now getting into it. I'm the type of person that I feel like, you know, I'm in a trance the majority of the day. Coming
Yes,
out of the trance and focusing on in reality is the thing. but still you want to be conscious of your trance. You want it to be focused. You want it to be directed, right? So that's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm working on. But I like to y'all pretty much named all of them. The breathing techniques, music. I feel that I do better with more like movement. Like I like to dance. I feel like that kind of center me and calms me and kind of focus, you
Yeah.
know, my mind a little bit more. So dance is good and visualization. Yeah, visualization and yeah, breath work. Y'all pretty much named all of them. Oh, repetition. Like I used to think like you have to sit there, just be still and like clear your mind and think of
Yep.
nothing. That did not work for me. It was torture. But repetition, that works because it's like it's the same as like if you're driving home and you're taking the same route every day,
Yep.
you tend to like zone out or go into a trance where you don't even remember the route. You just know that you showed up to your destination.
That's a
So
real thing and can be dangerous too. Like people have dissociated at the wheel and ended up from point A to point B, and they're like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm pure exhaustion. And it's
yes.
like,
Yeah.
no, dissociating is not good.
Very true.
It's a little scary, but that's what I like to use when I say like it's the same. That's what I like to use as an example as of repetition.
Yep, yep.
It's that's what it is.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Jungle. Pretty face, welcome, welcome. You said you had a question.
Yes. So, I'm just releasing some stress here, being on TikTok. I was arguing earlier, but I am working on myself, and I do see the bigger picture as far as ascending. I'm not really sure if this is a spiritual panel or anything, but I thought I'd ask. So,
Okay.
I am trying to, I have mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak that into existence. I'm working on it. I'm getting better and I'm leaving it. But I still have some remnants of like anger issues. And I've been having a hard time activating my heart chakra. And, well, you know, when everything started to happen, when I started to get depressed, I had before that, I used to have like a big open heart chakra. I would rarely get mad. I was in control of my emotions. So I want to know, what advice, do you have to open up my heart chakra or be at a more peaceful state to try to stop certain tics, from triggering me to a point? Because it's kind of, I'm 25. So it's kind of more so like a mood swing. And, I'll be fine. And then I start to hear like voices and I feel like people are talking to me, and then I just snap. So any advice?
No, I don't have any advice there. It sounds like you might want to get professional advice on those sorts of things. I don't want to. I don't want to jump into that realm. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. There was a question earlier. Oh, hey, Elizabeth. What's up? What's up? Welcome. Welcome.
Hey, I just want to say that's very responsible of you because sometimes people trying to merge spirituality into
Yeah.
mental health, and it's a thin line. So
Yeah. I don't like touching stuff like that. And also, it sounded like it was going to get kind of new agey, also. But first and foremost, want to take care of your mental health. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you
I
want
wanted to give us some advice, but I don't know their current mental state. And those are things you want to do one-on-one anyway.
yeah, and then mental health. You wanna get straight mentally with your mental health first, and then go into the spirituality. You're gonna notice that your spiritual work is gonna be more profound and clear.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
Yeah, and that's like actually funny that you say that because um it will come up again when you're doing things like what I'm doing in alchemical work. And if you've not integrated enough of your life experiences to a point to where you're at, that shit can trip you up and completely drag you off if you've not actually faced any of it before you even touched any of the spirit work. So do what you need to do in the mundane with your mental health and get stable. You don't need to be perfect. You
right.
need you need to get things just integrated to a point where you can
Hmm.
actually start focusing on the physical aspect because it's going to get physical.
Right. Integration, right. And every top like spiritualist that I respect that I know always say handle that first and then get into the spiritual.
Yeah, because if you don't, while you're working on your body, you're going to bottleneck your energy if anything is still up in the mental plane too much. And you don't know how to pull it down. Oops.
Indeed. All right. Rainbow Forest had a question from a bit ago. Rainbow, I hope you're still here. Sorry, we're getting to this a little later. Who is the biggest occultist you know? Um, so do you mean that like who was the biggest occultist that any of us actually like know? Like IRL, like know them? Or like do you mean like just in general, who is the biggest occultist that we're aware of?
Like,
Um,
a practitioner on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, or like an actual author that has, like,
yeah, how do you mean that? Because the biggest practitioner I know is probably Fuchet Nampoint or Fork Nampoint, the voodoo sorcerer, over at the voodoosorcerer.com. That's probably the biggest one. I mean, I've interacted with numerous authors, but I wouldn't say that I know them, right? Like, I've talked to Rufus Opus, I've talked to the late, great Donald Michael Craig, I've talked to Michael Chittatelli. I've talked to ConjureMan Ali. He was the one that helped me figure out that I was getting scammed in Kimbanda. But I wouldn't say I know these people. So yeah, I'm not sure how you mean that. If you're even still here, let me scroll down see if they.
what's their name?
I'm sorry.
What's their name?
It was Rainbow Forest. It was back up a little bit. It says
No,
who's the
they're.
biggest occultist you know.
I'm not seeing them in here anymore. In the live even.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Sorry, Rainbow. We got to it a little late, but um, that's how I would answer. I'm not sure how you mean that. Um, all right. Well, we got one more topic on the screen here, and then I guess we can just go into some random topics that you guys want to talk about. And let me pull it up on here so I can read it better. Um, all right. How do you discern whether a spiritual experience is genuine contact, imagination, or something in between? That's a very good question. How do you determine how do you discern whether a spiritual experience is genuine contact, imagination, or something in between? Um, well, do you want me to answer first, or do you want to go first this time?
You go first.
Okay.
Go first
So
too.
Okay. So it depends on what I'm contacting the spirit for, and what I'm looking to get out of the spirit would determine on how I go about discerning whether or not it's genuine or not. So, for example, I wouldn't put my ancestors through the same rigmarole that I would a demon or a chthonic spirit, right? I wouldn't ask them,
Right.
"Show me your seal," who's your what is your real name, right? I wouldn't be doing all of that
That's
to
funny.
my ancestors, that I would do to like a Goetic spirit or something. So
They look at you probably crazy.
yeah. So with something like my ancestors, right, I would use more subtle cues, because I'm not looking for a visible manifestation. I'm not looking for some sort of a, telltale sign that you're there. So it'll be little things, right? Like the energy in the room gets heavy or gets thick. There's that subtle shift in the presence that's in the room. I get that tingly sensation in my spine that I always get. That lets me know when there's a spirit present and I'm conjuring. If those sorts of things don't happen, or if something else happens, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not genuine. But from there, I would have to do further testing, further scrutiny before I would
Yeah.
believe it's genuine or say it's just part of my imagination.
Me next, because I'm short. I would be short. How I know it's genuine, it's like something takes over me. Like I can tell when it's me and when it's not me. Like
Okay.
I've had experiences where things came through me and talked through me where I know that it's not me talking. That's the best way I can describe it without getting all spooky and stuff. But yeah, that's how I know, because it's very different from, me using my imagination, because I never experienced it outside of, you know, doing, outside of my practice. It's always within my practice. And I know that they would do it also to protect me. If I'm doing a working that may be my first time doing it and stuff like that, and they'll come through me, usually with song, like, no, we're not going to do that way, stuff like that.
That happened to me yesterday.
It's usually through song. All right, I'm done.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
That's hilarious. That happens to me quite a bit, especially the music part. It'll be like right after I'm doing something, I'll be thinking about it, or I'll say it, and then like that same line will pop up in a song or whatever. I'm like, stop.
Wow. And how about you? What's your methodology?
I don't think it's as simple as real versus imagination all the time. And I know that sounds very contradictory. I am an animist at heart with a lot of things, but
Sure.
I'm a scientist. I love anatomy and physiology.
Right.
I think discernment comes from a few things: consistency, and does the experience repeat in a stable way over time? So
love
if
that.
you contain it before you expand, does it repeat itself? Second, coherence, which goes in line with containment. Does it align with the nature of the spirit or the force that you're working with? And then third, independence. Does anything happen that feels outside of your direct control or expectation of what you intended with that working, at least? And then the fourth, which is the result. So does it actually produce change, insight, or effect beyond the moment? And that's something that people, I feel like, hit or miss when they're divining on me, because they're only telling me things in the moment. They're not telling me anything that has the potential to have more follow through than the moment. So it makes me wonder sometimes if they're a fraud. And so I think imagination is always involved in some degree. It's part of how we perceive subtle things. So the question isn't whether imagination is present or not, but whether something is interacting through it in a way that's structured and consistent.
Well said. You say yes.
And that's where discernment develops over time following all of that.
Exactly. Rose has a question. I want to pursue Kimbanda too. What are some telltale signs of a scam? Well, I didn't know this back then, but the probably the only sign you should ever have is if they can't tell you their lineage. if they can't tell you what house they belong to, and you should be able to reach out and contact that house and verify and validate. Um, and if they don't allow you to do that, or if they have any sort of issues providing you their lineage that they come from, then there's an issue there. But also, the guy that was teaching me directly from a book, and I was too young and inexperienced to know that that wasn't valid, because that's kind of how you would learn anything else.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand that that wasn't how you would learn a spiritual practice, let alone something as a living practice like an ATR or an ADR, like Himbanda. Yeah, I would say if they're lax on telling you details about the lineage that they come from, is probably the biggest sign. And then also, yeah, he was teaching me from a book, so that's. I had that only 3 times. Last one was very scary for me. Lady T, what's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. You should be able to trace the house lineage. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. Liz is in here. Yes, Liz can direct you. Quite right. Quite right. So, thank you, Liz. Thank you for confirmation.
I mean, at the end of the day, even if you're not, fully explaining what you do within that structure of the practice, you should be able to guide a person to someone who is within it that can do that for them, not
Yes.
a book.
Yes. Exactly. Books, like, notice when, like, I only recommend books for people who can't get to a coven or which is most people,
Yeah.
so unfortunately, but books are not supposed to replace literal training or building a foundation and all that stuff. It's just, unfortunately, most people are not going to be able to find a group to learn from, or
And
a coven or an order. So
not only that, there's not a lot of books for the operation of these things. That's the
yes,
big
that's also
issue.
true.
There's like so much knowledge and things you can find in correspondence books all days, but an actual training manual that someone can sit down with, I don't think many.
Yeah, and I think that that's why, like, I get a lot of people who come in here and want to know how to do things, and like I get frustrated because I'm like, well, I don't get that from like a book, so I can tell you how I do it, but that took me years to learn. You can't just go and just do that. Like, it's not gonna make sense for you. So I don't know how to answer that question. They're like, well, how do I do it? And I'm like, bro.
I can give people like the skeleton on how to do alchemy, but you're gonna have to throw in and plug your own framework in there, and I can help you do that, but I can't metabolize it for you too.
Right. Exactly.
And even then, that's so much freaking work. I'd rather just give you the skeleton and the other half, the structuring of materia for crafting things. That's a lot of work, and I don't know, because even if we practice similar lineages of ancestry, your ancestors and your great-grandmother is still a completely different person than my great-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. Like, you're not going to be able to replicate someone's practice 100%. That's why I don't like it when people are like, how do you do this? It's like it.
It's actually
What?
funny that you're saying this, because I've been having a few people ask me how I use my own zodiacal sigil system that I created, and it's like, I'll teach you guys all day, the cows come home, how to raise and direct energy. And release it. But how I do that and what I created this for specifically in my practice, that's a part of my own inner world.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving that away to anybody, so sorry.
Yeah.
And it's not even, the whole point isn't even for you to do it exactly the way that I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a real life example, which can be confirmed. Angelo over at angeloscartomancy.com. He used to be a student of mine, but he was a student of mine under Western occultism, grimoire tradition, all that other stuff for years. But eventually he figured it just didn't resonate with him. It just didn't gel with him, blah, blah, blah. And he went on some spiritual journey. He left and he went to South America or something like that. I forget exactly where he went. He went on some journey to find himself. And he ends up finding himself in Voodoo. And he ends up getting, involved in Voodoo. He goes and he finds a legitimate societe, and he joins up with them. He gets initiated, and he's been doing that for like the last 12 years or so.
Nice.
And but he would have gotten there way before that if I didn't like if he didn't think that he had to do things the way I did them. Like if he wanted to get into magic, he had to do it the way the God King, that was my name on the site that we were on, the way that I was doing it. And but the way that I was doing it didn't gel with him. It just wasn't the right way. He tried it for years and years, and it just didn't work for him. And then he ended up finding something that worked for him. But it took him a few years to get there. And that kind of sucks for him because, it's not a waste. He learned a lot under me, but it ended up not being for him.
I get that. I think all of us have practiced something that we didn't really jive with, or we jived with for a while or a few years, and then all of a sudden it didn't seem to make sense, or you wanted something more,
Mm.
So I don't think any of it is a waste. I think it has a purpose to how you experience your own lived, experiences or practice, sorry. But also,
Good point.
It's good conversation, starters too. Just like, you don't take everything you learned in algebra, I guess, in middle school and high school with you into adulthood. But, if someone brings it up, a little fact of something,
Yeah, true.
you have a conversation starter. You have a connection to social experiences, on a wider scale than you previously thought was capable for yourself even. And that can open up more opportunities too, just by being there. So it's probably good that you did all of that for something, because hard work is hard work and none of it's wasted at the end of the day anyway.
That is true. That's a very good point. Thank you for that. Elizabeth says, a Tata who has been elevated to the point of taking godchildren shouldn't be teaching from a book. Yeah, I realize that now, and after talking to ConjureMan Ali. But back then, I was like 21, 22. I didn't know anything like that.
Young and impressionable.
So yeah, I was young, and it was a cool like ADR, and it was like, ooh, this is gonna help me get in touch with my roots and all that stuff. And he really took me for a ride. I like it better when you have to figure it out on your own more than following a formula. I like following a formula, and then I like taking that formula and then making it my own.
That's what I did.
Yeah, because figuring out on your own is fun. But if there is a blueprint that can make it easier for me, I would like to take the easier route. I'm of the mind that if I don't have to struggle, I shouldn't. It's one thing if no one did it before, I'm the first one. Okay, then I gotta struggle. I gotta struggle through it until I can figure it out. But if there were people who came before me that paved the way to make it smoother for me, I would like to take the smoother path. There's going to be bumps and stuff like that, sure, but I'd like to take that smoother path and put most of my effort on something else. But that's just me. Other people, maybe different.
I kind of see it like, I really like hiking in the woods, but it's really nice to come by a bridge and a water source every, mile.
Yeah.
There's a threshold in between this where I'm coming from and going to. So
yeah, there's an equestrian park that's near me that I like to go to and walk around, but it's it's interesting because it's massive. It's insanely huge. But and it's extremely walkable, but they don't have a lot of places for you to like rest. So you
Oh,
kind of just have to keep walking. And when you do find a bench, it's usually taken because there's no other benches. It's not like there's a bench and then 200 feet in a bench and then maybe 200 feet in a bench. It's like
yeah.
a bench, 6 miles another bench, 6 miles another bench, and you're like, brother, what? Like,
I need to
so
I need to rest in between all of this.
yeah, it's
They
kind of
should
crazy.
you should call up your local town hall and have them suggest like an art thing where they'll install benches, and whoever has the best art design for a bench, they'll put them out there.
Well, it's actually not like it's not in my state. I live on a border, or not I don't
Okay.
live on the border, but I live in a town that's near the border of my state and another state, and
Same.
technically it's in the other state, but
Yeah.
it's only like 10 minutes from me, so I go there often. So I
Oh,
mean, I guess I could call, but I don't pay those taxes, so they it wouldn't.
fuck 'em.
They'd go, "You're calling from this area code. You're not even from our thing. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?"
But that would still be a great idea, a community thing. My
Yeah,
sister
it would
was
be.
a part of something like that in high school, and she actually ended up winning, and they didn't even do it.
That sucks.
Her bench design was supposed to take up the Blue Water Boardwalk between Canada and Port Huron.
Oh wow, that's
They just
cool.
completely forgot about it. They didn't end up doing it.
Forgot. They forgot.
Like, what the hell?
Yes, Rose. Anyone can come up if you're still here. I'm sorry. Yes, anyone can come up. We will be here for another roughly 50 minutes or so. We will be getting off at 11 Eastern. 11 Eastern. So it's 10:07 right now. Uh, consciousness only what we are only wait. Consciousness only what we are once subconscious of, what we are conscious of now. We once were not.
What?
What?
Would you kind of mentality?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Crystal. I don't understand what that says. It could be because my third eye is blocked and my shadow work needs to be done, but um, I don't know what that means. Let me read that again. Consciousness. Only what we're only one only what we're once subconscious of, what we are conscious of now, what we once were not.
That
I'm
means,
sorry, I have
see,
no clue.
you're not even trying to be mean, but if they had some commas, it would make it a lot more clear.
I
I
mean,
know what I
there
actually get now what they're trying to say, but you had to literally one by one read it.
I'm bad. I throw stuff
there's
out there
actually
all the
two
time, and
commas in there.
Rebel have to decode it. I'm bad at keeping something going. So.
No, yeah, I meant it that way, like innovating on what's offered, not like starting from scratch. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I agree, Faithful. I agree.
Um, Faithful also said you learn the fundamentals and you learn it and mend it to your situations. Yeah, kinda, kinda to your situations. But you also got to remember when you get into spirit work, you're not always doing everything that you want to do, and you're not
Yeah.
always working with your energy. So things are gonna maybe be a little bit more chaotic and slightly more volatile and raw than what you're potentially feeling. But that's why it's important to go into things with a relationship and like when you're invoking a spirit too, and asking um for a relationship at the beginning, you should just be asking for their presence, and then give that presence orientation and direction in your life, and wait for those signs to pop up, to observe, to test those results against. So
When did any spells or talk to any spirits, I just find this stuff very interesting. Nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, we're just here to expand on things that we do. We get that not everybody's gonna be on the same spectrum.
Hey, Rose, what's up? Welcome up.
Hi! It's so nice to be up. Hi.
How are you?
I've seen her a few times in the lives.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's so nice to see you. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good today.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. What's up? What can we do for you?
Well, I just found your guys' conversation really fascinating, especially that last question. And I kind of was interested in giving my perspective on the last question from how I do things, if that's okay. I don't know if
Of
that's
course.
allowed.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Um,
That's what we're doing this for.
well, okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if you guys were just like getting together and doing this live to teach or what have you, but
Well,
Simply
um
it's kind of like a mixture of both. We're doing the discussion, but also we want the audience to chime in and give their perspective if they're comfortable as well.
okay, of course. Well, um some of the things that I've done or what I tend to do when communicating with spirits, I'm for background, I'm a Hellenic pagan. So,
Okay.
what I tend to do, I'm very careful now when communicating with spirits
Hmm.
because earlier I wasn't. So now I do kind of like communication in threes. So if I'm asking for a sign or if I'm receiving a sign from a deity or if I'm in ritual, it has something has to happen three times and something somewhat inexplicable like
Okay.
um a dream. That's a big one for me.
That's a good one.
Um, um, just some one of them has to be physical, like a sort of animal sign, but it has to be if I'm receiving an animal sign, it has to be like somewhat unusual or somewhat inexplicable. Um, and maybe I'll like hear or see something that makes sense. It doesn't have to necessarily make sense now, it can make sense later. If
Okay.
it makes sense more later, I tend to trust it more. Um, let me see what else. So there's the threes. Um, I'm very careful with what I see and hear because I think UPG, like unverified personal gnosis, you have to be very careful with it. So I'm
Indeed.
very careful with what I see and hear, and I have to confirm it. Um, it has to correspond to that spirit in some way in
Right.
what's written about them in their traditional like makeup. It has to. Like that's
Yes.
a non-negotiable for me. It has to.
Okay. I like
Um
that.
I'm sorry, I'm blanking now that I came up here. Let me
That's
think.
okay. That's okay.
um
We're not here
oh
to
I
cast any moral judgments, don't worry.
Yeah, dreams, and correspondences are perfect because I mean that's exactly what I would tell someone if they were asking for some factors on determining if something was valid or not.
Even though a lot of
yeah.
people will try to say, oh, I don't think it is, it is.
Yeah.
Just because you don't
Um
know how to read them, that's another topic.
oh, that's another thing with dreams.
Hmm.
I'm careful with how I read them because I have this bad habit where I tend to read my dreams like literally on the first go.
Hmm.
Um, it's such a bad habit, but that's because my dreams carry a lot of emotion for me. And
Hmm.
so I can be kind of like obtuse with how I read them. So I like traditional like dream divination sources like the Anerio Critica, and like I was recently learning about Egyptian dream divination. And so I like to go to that, especially because that's just where I work from. So it makes sense to go back to that. That's a big one for me. Um, I'm very cautious about if I'm hearing something, I make sure that it doesn't fit into the structure of what someone would consider um like classifying as audio hallucinations. So like commanding voices, cruel voices. Um so if it's telling me to do something crazy, I already know not to do it. It's very good to be careful with that because I think like when you're first starting, you're running up against your own mind a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so your mind can tell you some crazy shit. So
Yeah.
it's really good to be very careful to understand what would classify as like a maladaptive experience
Yeah.
when it comes to visual and audio. If like you're having, oh, another thing, if it's constant, that's like, no, that's not a good sign. If it's consistent, if it's in a ritual space, that's one thing. If it's
Mhm.
outside of that space, I would say be a little bit cautious about that. And if it's consistent, be cautious about that. If it's too, for me personally, some people would say that this is not a big deal. If it's too vivid sometimes, I would say be cautious about that. But
Okay,
too vivid
interesting.
in a way that it's becoming like distracting or if it's becoming like painful to you.
Right.
That I would be suspicious about. I think it being vivid in general is a good sign, but if it's too vivid, I think that's where you need to worry.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly vivid.
Overwhelmingly vivid, that's where I would say you need to worry.
Yes.
I'm curious to know why, if something is overly vivid, you would have to worry. I'm curious.
Well, because if it's overwhelming the senses, I would say that might be an indicator of like a mental health crisis.
Yeah,
Just
because
because, yeah.
you mentioned at the beginning too that a lot of this was stemming from at, at least coming from your beginner's mindset. So you're not a beginner, but some of this sounds like your own advice too, which I actually like all of this a lot.
Yeah, it's my advice to myself, pretty much is what I'm saying. If it's too vivid, if it's too distracting, if it's distracting to a point that it's causing pain in your life, you need to be careful with that. That's not a good sign. I think
Wow.
like especially depending on what you're dealing with, like don't I deal specifically with Hellenic deities and I'm starting to like learn about Cometicism. They, in my personal opinion, they don't hurt people because why would you matter enough for them to hurt you? Not even in a rude way, but I don't personally think that they hurt people. And if they do hurt people, you did something. And if you did something bad enough for them to hurt you, that's a whole other problem to itself. There are so many ways for something to communicate things to you. Why is pain the first? Why is like something that is like shocking and scary the first thing? I feel like that's more an indication that
That's that's
is
that's
your
interesting.
mind doing that.
I would never even like even think of that being as like a first experience, something that's painful and shocking. Like But
Yeah, people
everyone have
are.
different experiences, so I was just curious, because I
Yeah,
haven't had
and
none
this
of
is all
that.
personal experience too, so keep that in mind. But I just think there are so many ways for something to communicate something to you. I think, like, it doesn't have to be pain. That's something I learned. Like, I think that could be an indication that something more is going on.
I think what you mean is like causing unnecessary stress in your life, because
Yeah, that's what I mean.
discipline can bring a sense of stress that can go either way, good or bad, but it should be good stress. And it
Oh,
should
I'm
be
not
challenging.
necessarily talking about discipline. I'm
No,
talking
I know.
about, like,
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just expanding so other people understand better. And
yeah,
you shouldn't have to suffer for everything, basically.
yeah, yeah. That's at least my thing. And like, I like, yeah. And I don't know if it's coming across like well or if it's good advice or anything like that, but this is just stuff that I've learned for myself, that I've learned for myself.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you sharing. Thank you very much.
This is
That was
like
awesome.
you've like basically summed up a lot of the things that we've already were touching on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much.
So yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Of course. Thank you for coming up.
I hope you stick around, Rose.
Yeah, you
Yes.
don't have to
Oh
leave.
yeah, I
You don't
can
have to
stick
drop
around
out.
if you want. I can stick around if you want. I don't know if like
That's up to you.
my Oh yeah, I would like to stick around for a little longer, sure.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I like your energy.
Nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna see if there's any questions in the chat, and if not, Issa, if you have any other topics you want to discuss, we can go into that. I have a topic here. We can go over that. I don't see
Go
any
over
other.
your topic. I got nothing. I didn't come prepared beyond.
The four that we had here. That's okay. Goblin says, I finally started working with Chittatelli's Book of Abraxas. I love it. Yeah, I urge you to become very well acquainted with the Adjuration. Obviously, that's my favorite banishing ritual of all time. And the Solar Rite of Protection is probably my go-to protection ritual. And let me know what you think about Mistema's wine. Because Mistema is a demon, from my understanding. So let me know what you think of Mistema's wine. But yeah, good text. All right. Let me see. Okay, I'm interested in your views on the distinction between high and low magic, right? Or I guess a better way to put this, or a more esoteric way to put this, theurgy versus Goetia. And I mean Goetia classically, not the text, the Goetia. So yeah, want to know what the panel's thoughts on high versus low magic are.
I have the most boring answer. I don't have an opinion. I love them both. Sometimes I use them both at the same time. And sometimes I'll use it both with folk magic. So just the mood's the moods, the intention, location.
Yeah.
I do what I need to do depending on my orientation, the thing.
Said like a true witch.
You said the difference between high and low magic, Goetia and theurgy.
Yeah.
All of that is outside my scope. That's not my practice.
Okay. Okay,
I
no
like
problem.
learning about it though, because I'm interested. You know,
Okay,
I'm just
okay.
curious,
Well,
but
so high magic or theurgy would be essentially magic that deals with the celestial or the divine realms, right? The work of the gods, or literally god work is what it is what it would mean. So doing rituals that are in service of or in communication with a deity for a high purpose, right? So it's not for like destructive things or anything. It's usually for sort of oracles, initiations, that sort of stuff. That's high magic, divine, celestial sort of stuff. Whereas low magic or Goetia would be the base material human stuff, right? Love, money, health, cursing, hexing, childbirth, all of that. So it's the more base, the more material magics.
oh, okay, okay.
My alchemical work actually is a blend of them both. So
I like that.
Yeah, I like balance. I mean, it's my practice by another name, right? Using different terminology. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
I like balance. High, low, whenever it's necessary. When
Okay.
necessary.
gotta
Nice,
do
nice.
what you gotta
Yeah,
do.
I
Period.
use both. I really don't have any opinion on either one. I think I'm doing theurgy a lot more,
Okay.
but I use both. I really don't have a opinion either way.
I don't think they're bad or
Okay.
good if that's what we're trying to go into.
Yeah, no. I actually mine is like stacked. I guess you could say it's combined, but
Hmm.
I start out in one and move into the other because as you guys know, I start well, as you know, Issa, and probably you Jungle. I start with my ancestors, so
Hmm.
that would be probably low mat, and then I work my way up through the chain of manifestation up through God. So it goes from the chthonic realm into the celestial realms and therefore then becomes theurgic
Yeah,
because the purpose is to honor the seven governors and of course God um, and the logos as well so
you,
it's
you know, you know what I would say? I feel like the distinction, I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, be sure to call me out, but
no
I
sure
feel like the distinction is not I feel like it's not quite accurate when we talk about ancient magic and ritual, specifically that of the PGM, because
Mhm.
it's you're calling upon the gods for worldly matters like
Right.
love. There's a lot of restraining charms and stuff like that. I
Mhm.
feel like it becomes less clear the older you go because back then all magic was both theurgic and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No, you're not wrong with that at all.
yeah, no, it seems to be decidedly a Western occult thing to delineate and classify things with such rigid rules and structures for what makes something.
um, yeah, no, because like I feel like Wicca, along with Christianity, is like stuffed so much into people's minds that even when they get to the work that I'm doing, they still see it as controlling. They haven't separated the mental stuff to actually go into theurgic operation and compartmentalize that. They still see bad, good, strict, or too loose, not free enough.
Exactly. Sweet Chariot has so Issa, you gave a great answer earlier because I kind of asked the question, so you may want to repeat it here. Sweet Chariot has an interesting question. Can people connect with spirits from other cultures?
Yes. Um, Can you expand on that a little? I need some room.
That's all that they just said. Can people connect with spirits from other cultures? I don't think there's anything prior to that. Yeah, no.
Did I say something earlier that was interesting?
Yeah, when I was asking, if as an example, if someone from China, like a practitioner from China, was trying to uh, get in touch with, say, Goetia spirits or something along those lines.
Yes.
Value Nation wants to come up, by the way, is asking to come up.
Yeah, if you want to come up, request to come up.
So earlier I answered this yes because a part of where I'm at in my alchemical work, initiating into Mars, I'm actually in the work of fully, beginning to fully embody the energy that I've been working with coming from Saturn and Jupiter. And I've been getting the opportunity to blend in my Buddhistic practice that I had prior for about 8-9 years before I became a Hermeticist and got back into my own ancestral practices. Mostly the different breathing techniques and embodiments, but in doing so, I've had to translate the colloquial language from a horizontal axis to a vertical one. So Buddhism has a very similar embodiment that Hermeticism does, but it's more focused on feeling than it does the logic and reasoning aspect of that side. Intellectually, it does in its own language, but we are Westerners, not Easterners, so it's very hard for us to understand cultures outside of our Indo-European mindsets and frameworks. To a degree, you can learn them, people do, but you're gonna have to do a little bit of translating between the two. And I actually often, if somebody's completely lacking the abstractness of dealing with the mind to go into the body or soul, or from abstract to concept to concrete, I do recommend them going into learning trance work and meditation with Buddhism, because it will help you translate back up into Hermetic orientation. Buddhism has its own vertical spine, but I'm just saying it lands better. So then when you want to go back up into the mind and start breaking all that down intellectually, like even with your own birth chart, and you're trying to understand it and pin it down somewhere, so then you can bring that back down. So then you'll go, oh, I know this now because I've been doing the body work. Now I can go back up in the mind, and then you can go back down again. You can basically translate between the three. So you have to do baby step translating first. That might be spending time between materials and texts and actually writing things out in your own journal of how you synthesize that within the context of your lived experience. So that's just an example. And funny enough, now that we're talking about this, they have actually found statues recently in the Mediterranean of Buddhists, like gods with their heads and everything, but dressed in Hellenistic clothing and posing partial Buddhistic and Greek postures at the same time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
In the Mediterranean? Interesting.
I gotta go find the video. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing that.
It was like sometime in the past year. But yeah, it can be done, and um, from my understanding, a lot of Indo-European practices and Hellenistic pagan beliefs and traditions can be practiced alongside each other.
Mhm.
From the looks of it, with the information I just gave about the statues, it seems like at least some form of ancient Egypt, Alexandria, Greek, and India, they all passed their beliefs, I believe, like along each other through a channel and traded knowledge and esoteric traditions with each other. I believe they helped each other probably translate a lot of their knowledge a lot farther than the Greeks and the Egyptians did with each other. So, like similarly here, how many different traditions within Native American cultures are passed between different lineages, tribes, and their own clans. Um, all sorts and parts of the world have touched each other in some way or another and helped shape each other. So it just takes time.
Indeed, indeed. Valuation, welcome up, welcome up. What's up?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. What's going on? What can we do for you?
No, I'm just interested in the topics, and I like what Issa was talking. So I just wanted to tap in, but I didn't want to just jump in the conversation.
Sorry, I talk a lot. I've
No,
been
you're
given the
doing
opportunity to, at least.
you're doing fine. You gotta express yourself, and it's okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man. Feel free to share your perspective.
So I was interested on number 2, God form assumption, its practice and uses. Is this a
Okay.
question?
Not really a question, more of a topic. Just discussing the practice of assuming God forms. If you utilize it, what you utilize it for, how you go about that practice, etc.
So if we talk about God form assumptions, you're assuming that you are the greatest version of your ancestors. So with that being said, um, I always go into invocations. I always invocate my ancestors. I call upon my ancestors of the highest light who has fully ascended to come and assist me with such and such. And then I even go and use I encircle myself in the gold light of God's love and divine protection. Or I encircle my car, my destination, my children in the gold light of God's love and divine protection. Using these invocations as tools, not concepts, allows you to assume the God form because me personally, I know you can't be the source, the divine, which is all things at all times, everywhere. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can have some sense of discernment by tapping into that energy, by understanding who and what you want to be, and then invocating that or using invocations to invocate the discernment and the decision making. So that's what I do personally. I make sure that before I do anything, I'm doing something with intent. That way I got some specific discernment with my decision making for the following systems or whatever type of creativity I'm exploring. Usually it's music, and oh my God, I'm talking about music is such a beautiful outlet.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is.
What the fuck? Is it raining y'all over there where y'all at?
Not here, no.
No.
Whoa.
At least
Hey,
not
y'all
here.
know when it like lightning? Hold on. Oh my God. I think y'all know when it shows lightning in the sky and it just kind of shows like the sky. I think it's a motherfucking spaceship in my motherfucking. Hold on.
He just said spaceship.
No, like look, yo, hold on, look. I'm not. I swear to. So look,
Oh wow. Yeah.
hold on.
Let's see.
Damn, that motherfucker's not there.
Oh yeah, you better get inside.
Dude, you could still see
Rebel
the
don't
light
believe in
after.
aliens.
You
Rebel
need to
don't
get
believe in
your.
aliens.
What was that? No.
You could
That-
still see the light after it struck. You need to get your butt inside. You're gonna turn into radiation dust, like a shadow on a wall.
There's
Uh,
no
Knock on some
aliens
wood.
out there, according to Rebel.
I swear I just saw
oh
something
no,
though.
I believe in aliens. I just don't believe that they're talking to anybody.
I think I just saw
Oh,
something.
okay. Thank you.
You don't think aliens are talking? I don't know if that's true or not. I wish
Yeah,
they talked.
to anybody. At least not anybody that's not like a billionaire with access to space.
Have you heard of Bashar?
Yeah,
You heard of Aaron Lyons?
Aaron Lyons. No, I've never heard of Aaron Lyons.
She's a melanated woman. She channels source energy and aliens and everything else. I don't I don't know per se personally if you know you can do that, but from
Mhm.
what they talk about and how they speak with such clarity, and I don't know, I feel like there's nothing dangerous behind the information. So and it's information that serves me, so I feel safe hearing it.
I mean, if it works for you.
No, for sure, my bad.
I'm
All right.
neutral when
Let
it
me see
comes
if
to the
there's anything
aliens.
there.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rebel. I just started talking.
Oh no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just making a statement. I didn't have anything to say. I was just gonna say I'm neutral with the whole alien thing. I don't know. That's my stance. I don't know.
Yo,
Okay.
Bashar said that 2027 is going to be open disclosure. He said that we're moving from an earthly civilization to a galactic civilization.
Yeah, he's been saying that for a while though. He's
Yeah,
said that for,
2027. You know what I'm saying? We got a year left.
no, he said that for 2018 and then in 2022 and then in 2025 and now it's 2027.
Oh no, he been saying 2027 for 30 years.
No, if you go back and you watch like his videos from like early 2000s and stuff like that, he puts like 2012, 2018
Well,
as
if you
dates.
listen to the information he tells you, you know, you can't predict the future. There's only a prediction of the energy that's, you know, in the moment. That moment of energy can always be disrupted because once you know the future, you can change it.
So then I would argue then there's no point in putting out any predictions. You just shouldn't say any predictions at all because it's most likely not going to happen.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Tell
but,
me the future.
I want to know
Uh,
the future. I don't
Have
want
you?
to just know the moment.
Well, have y'all heard about Project Looking Glass?
Yes.
Would y'all? So would you use that device if you had the opportunity to check into your highest future?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had something that could like give me a 100% or at least the high probability of a future, then yeah, I would definitely look into that. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be talking to freaking the stars anymore, that's for sure. Love you guys. I love you, Saturn. I love you, everything in between the moon.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You just connecting, you know what I'm saying, with who you are.
Strange Girl, why don't you like the Pikatrix? I mean, other than maybe some
Yeah, I
of
was curious about that too.
the more obvious things. I'm wondering what about the Pikatrix don't you like? Not that it's the greatest. I mean, I probably wouldn't work from the
To
Pikatrix
be
either.
honest, I tried
But
to use it as a foundation for my alchemical work, and it got kind of freaking hilarious reading it from that perspective instead of the way that we were doing in the lives. It changed the way I saw it. I was like, nah, this is goofy, actually.
yeah, the Pikatrix is a little weird in some places, especially when it seems at times to have been written by someone who like knows a little bit about the occult but not enough to like formulate coherent rituals and things like that.
Yeah,
What are you talking
here's
about?
the thing, because I tried to use it. The only thing that it was useful for me was helping define the mineral aspect of my work. So I was able to
Okay.
create a correspondence there with um, crystals and stuff. But for plant stuff and even ink making, their ink making process or advice for plant materia for I think Saturn or Jupiter was terrible. It's more poisonous than using lead. I
Yeah.
googled that shit myself and I was like, there is no way no
Yeah.
one's making that. They just go to the PGM and make mer ink, okay?
Yeah, a lot of modern magicians give warnings about the recipes in there. But value, it's a book called The Picatrix. It's a classical grimoire. It's a Arabic grimoire that
Yeah.
provides planetary zodiacal correspondences for ritual. It's supposed to be foundational, and in a lot of ways it is, but there's also a lot of issues with it. So it kind of gets
It's
left to
very
the
outdated.
wayside. Yeah.
Is this something that you recommend I read as a beginning practitioner, or is this something that somebody needs to be intermediate or expert?
I would say wait till you're intermediate. It's not something that you absolutely need to read right now, and I probably wouldn't
Yeah.
recommend reading it right now. You'll probably be more confused than anything. I would wait till the intermediate level before reading it.
I recommend the Sworded Secret Grimoire as more a bit closer to something a
And
bit
more affordable.
beginner friendly and foundational and historic too.
Yeah.
For that kind of stuff. If you're curious, and I love JSK. He's
Yeah.
got like a child
Yeah,
at
I'll
he's
Yeah.
got like a child at heart philosophical mind, and I love it.
You read the Book of Solomon?
Which one are you referencing?
If the if I'm is it more than one?
Oh yeah, there's
The
quite a
Wisdom of
few.
Solomon, Solomon Keys.
Oh, the keys of I think that's the one I'm talking about then. Okay. Somebody
Yeah. Mhm.
Strange. God
So-
dang it.
yeah, so the
Strange
key
girl bone collector wanted to come up. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to give her a chance to come up too.
Oh yeah. If she wants, go ahead and let me see. I don't see. Oh, there you go. All right, and I think Treyway also is in there.
There we go. Sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
But yeah, Value, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, he dropped.
He dropped. All right. But yes, we are familiar with the Solomonic texts. Value. We read them live, and we elucidate on them. So yes, we are familiar. And what's up, Trey? What's up, strange girl?
Going okay. Going okay. Just enjoying it.
Nice. Thank you for coming up. Thank you for being here. And sorry, Issa, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I don't remember. It's fine.
Okay.
Really.
All right, no problem. Let me see if there's any questions in the chat or if anybody has any. I don't believe in Bashar. I like Sadhguru. That's
He's
just
a good
the
one. He's funny too.
Thor. Oh, do you mean Valiant Thor or the God Thor? Oh, she dropped. Okay, I guess she didn't really mean the request. I think a lot of people might hit it when they're like scrolling through the chat, because that happens to me. Like I'll invite people by accident, but I'm trying to scroll. And I think sometimes people might accidentally request to come up.
No, she said that she did intend, but she dropped.
Oh, all right. Yeah, she dropped.
Strange girl, you could still talk about that. We're just talking about.
Oh yeah, feel free to bring up whatever topic you want. We got
Get your
10
butt
minutes
back
left.
up here.
So yeah, feel free to talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
Once we're done with the, well, it's down below me now. Once we're done with the topics that are on the screen, it's open season. You can talk about whatever. So if you want to come back up, feel free. If you don't have to. No pressure or anything. But if you do want to come back up and there's a topic you want to talk about, please We got 10 minutes left, so feel free to come back up and talk about it.
What is an occultist that you guys really? It's probably best if it's an older one, but what's an occultist that you guys really don't like their books or methods?
Aleister Crowley. Okay, that's not fair.
I knew you were gonna
No,
say that.
no. Let me not
Everybody
use that
says
answer.
that.
That's a cheat answer. That's
You
an easy.
say that like all the time, though. You really do. You say
Yeah,
him once,
that's
and then you
an
change
easy
your
answer.
mind.
So I'm not going to use him this time. That's an easy scapegoat answer. I'll say EA co-editing, but only post 2012. From 98, I think, is when his first book came out, to about 2012, his books were okay. 2012 till now, yeah, no, I don't recommend EA co-editing at all. So that's my name.
Can I be honest? I don't pay attention to anybody already that I could care enough to say I don't dislike. I know I don't kind of care for EA co-editing. I've sat in quite a few of his lives to try to, observe to understand him. He's very smart. I'll give him that. But
Yeah.
then he just kind of goes off the handle mid-conversation. I'm like, where are we at now?
Yeah,
It feels like
so
I'm being dropped off mid-space.
it's not so much him. The information he talks about on a live stream is very usable oftentimes and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when you're reading his book, the
the
secret
books.
rituals of the 12 demonic kings. It's like, bro, or like I'm going to share with you the undead god ritual to summon Ahriman.
Really?
Like, what are
Okay.
you talking about, bro?
So he's a little bit more kooky in his books than I thought. I've never even read any of his books.
it's very car salesman-y. It's
That's
very
what it is.
yeah.
Oh my god, that's what he's doing in his lives. And it's
Yeah.
just the beginning, and then he'll do it in the middle, and then at the end, and he'll go heavy at the end promoting. I'm like, what is this? Are you trying to sell me a car or a vacuum at my house right now?
No, he's trying to sell you his $100 books that are no different than any of these books here that you can get for $20. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
If I sell my magnum opus later in the future for more than $50, slap me. Because I want it to be
Brainwave wanted to say
accessible.
something.
So the stories that you speak about in the books, I never read none of his books though. These real entities, because like some of the entities them is kind of some makeup to me, like
Yeah.
God or something. So.
Black magic entrepreneur coach.
Well, yeah, Black Magic. Yeah. So So it depends on the text you're talking about. So in his book Kingdoms of Flame, which I think came out in 2008, I think someone can correct me on that. But that book, those spirits are all made up, and he admits that readily. Those are egregores that his order, I forget the name of his order, the Eternalists something. They created those spirits to work with those spirits, and then they had success, and then they wrote a book to share those spirits with other people. But they were very honest about it. There was no deceiving you or anything like that. But that's when co-editing wasn't a car salesman trying to sell you a course to summon the dark gods. He was just an author. But like the spirits in Works
Do
of
they
Darkness, I've never tried Kingdoms of Flame, so I don't know. But I've tried Works of Darkness, and those rituals and those spells but they use legitimate spirits. So
Okay.
and his Questing After Visions is really good. Episimus is really good. Like, I actually believe those two books, Questing After Visions and Episimus, are probably going to go down as like classics. Like 200 years from now, people are going to find those books and be like, okay, there's some real shit in here. Those are really, really good books. And then I don't know what happened. He decided money was more important than sharing legitimate information. And now we have this EA co-editing.
The capitalistic one.
What's up, Paxton? What's going on, man?
Oh, Paxton's in the house.
All right, guys. Any final questions, comments? We got about 5 minutes left. We got 5 minutes.
I want to say on the hierarchy of dislike, I will put Crowley lower than EO Coetting, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Listen, I read some of his ideas and theories on making a spiritual child, and that shit
Oh
is
yeah, the
like
Moonchild.
that shit's like spiritual eugenics to me. I just
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
yeah, I just giggled my whole way through it. I'm like, this can't be serious. I can't believe this was
I don't
written.
think it is serious though, because it's for his novel, right? It's not even
I
like
don't
in
know
his.
though. That's the problem, probably. I don't
Yeah.
know his works like that. It
Yeah,
just
it's for his novel called Moonchild that he wrote that weird shit. I mean, maybe he really did believe it and he
You guys
hid
hear
it
me?
under the. I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Yes.
He's just in the middle explaining something.
He got into a mix with this guy named Garrett and his girlfriend Barbie, and they were like doing these rituals in their backyard, and they were doing mathematics. And I don't even think he's like real anymore.
Who? Crowley?
No, EA.
EA Coetting. Oh, okay. You don't think he's real anymore? What do you mean?
I think he's just starting to make things up.
You
He's
mean like
not
that? Okay, I was gonna say
legitimate.
because like I've seen him live and I've seen him get arrested and all this stuff. I've seen him on the news, so I'm sure he's a real guy. But you mean like he's like BSing about a lot of stuff? Yeah, I think he's BSing about a lot of the stuff. Like you can see just go on his website, go on Become a Living God, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It is the infomercial. Buy my system, and for 2 easy payments of $499.99 you'll learn how to be the blackest magician around. And yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Uh, Jungle Rose, do you guys have any magicians or occultists that you guys don't like?
No, because I'm new to the whole occult scene, so I'm
Okay,
gonna say no.
okay, no problem. Nothing wrong with that.
I really like Yira.
I've been hearing a lot about your.
He's really awesome.
Yeah, I follow him, but I've not read any of his stuff or bought any of his stuff or anything. But I do follow him.
Don't app now. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I guess. Well, I was just gonna say, I know I kind of dunked on you for this earlier, but Aleister Crowley, Aleister Crowley for sure.
Mm.
I agree with EA Coetting. This is not like an occultist per se. Oh, wait, what's his name? I don't dislike him as a person, I suppose, but I'm not sure how I feel about the structure of his temple. Guy who created the Temple of Set, but I forgot his name.
Oh, Michael
Um,
Aquino.
Michael Aquino. Yeah, Michael Aquino.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are mine. There's also this author called Judith Page, who I have her book on set, and I've been reading it, and like in one of her articles, she called Osiris a wimp and said that he doesn't really do anything, and I was like, wait, I was a little taken aback by that. So that had me a little shook, but yeah, those are mine.
I want to add to the list
Okay.
the creator of the Order of Nine Angles.
I know the Order of Nine Angles, but I don't know who created them. Who created them?
I don't know, but everybody in there too can go too.
Yeah, everyone in there can go. I think that's the weirdest. Like even back when like
Extreme
when I was getting
source of
into the
intent.
occult, even back when I was getting into the occult, and really the only two options that you had, unless you had a coven or whatever, the only two options you had was Wicca or Satanism, even the people who went the satanic route were always like, those people are like freaking weird. Like,
Really?
yeah.
Like, those are the only two options.
Yeah, when I was coming up, unless you had a way into something like the ATRs or something else, you were not aware of anything else. You were only aware of witchcraft or Satanism. There was no one that would have been telling you about, I don't know,
Voodoo.
Kumantan or something like that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I got a little bit lucky because I met my spiritual parents so young,
Mm,
but I didn't learn a lot from them, honestly. We lived
yeah.
so far away from each other. But a sense of belonging saves you from a lot of things.
It does. It does.
So,
I
you
do
know.
credit my coven with a lot of the way I am
Yeah.
and how I was able to learn a lot of things.
I did learn from them, but not in the way that you learn from your coven. I was still all
Oh,
over the place.
yeah,
And
it
they
wasn't
were
like
dumb.
direct. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And because we live so far away.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. All right. Well, we have reached the end of our stream. So I want to thank you all for joining us this evening. This was a fantastic live stream. I did not expect this
I
at
know.
all.
I was
I did not
nervous when we
expect this.
first started.
Yeah, it started out with a lot of people. There was like 60 people in here, and then it just dropped off, and there was 2 people in here, and then it built back up, and then we got a full panel pretty much. So that was really really cool. So thank you guys for coming up and sharing your perspectives. Certainly do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this evening, come back tomorrow. Issa and I are going to be continuing our reading of an astrology text called The Only Way to Learn Astrology. And then I'm not sure if Venom and I are doing Tuesday. I'll have to hit him up about Tuesday. But definitely come back for tomorrow night. Issa and I will be continuing our reading of The Only Way to Learn Astrology. Any final words from you, Issa?
Thank you guys for the gifts. And yeah, I think
Yes,
that was
thank you for the
really
gifts.
funny. When I stopped talking about my alchemical work, everybody just left. Like, oh, it's no longer interesting anymore. I got nervous. Thanks for everybody hanging out too. It was nice to see some familiar people in here, and hopefully next week Venom will be back from his spring vacay with his family, and
Yes.
We can bring the audience back.
Indeed, indeed. All right, guys. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, seek the mysteries. Peace.
Bye. Good night.